What's up, fantasy managers? I got 5 players from the high-scoring, electric New England Patriots that you can either play or pause in Week 14. I will go over information to help you decide either to start or sit these players. I know you're interested, so stick around for 7 seconds. You can do it! Okay, first thing I want to say is that this is being recorded on 12/5/2023, a few days before Thursday. It will come out on the 6th, but I still want to go over this information, but just be aware some things might change. I want to start with the over and under. It's at 30. It's expected to be a low-scoring game. One of the lowest over and unders for Thursday night games this season. The New England Patriots is last in scoring, averaging 12 points per game, and 28th in total offense, averaging 290 yards a game. The Pittsburgh Steelers is 6th in defensive scoring by allowing 19 points a game and 21st in total defense, giving up 348 yards a game. Heading into Week 14, Pro Football Network has the Patriots offensive line ranked 15th in the NFL, and it might improve because their left tackle did return in Week 12 and has been playing well. The Patriots give up the 19th most sacks a game at 2.5, and the Steelers' defense is 11th overall, sacking the quarterback 2.8 times a game, and 20th in the league, allowing 5.3 yards per play. And now to discuss some important injuries. Players who did not participate today are wide receiver Demario Douglas with a concussion and running back Ramondre Stevenson with an ankle. And players that were limited in participation today, offensive tackle Trent Brown, ankle, hand, wide receiver DeVante Parker, knee, offensive lineman Riley Reef with a knee, and wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster with an ankle. And now let's talk about the players to play or pause for the Thursday night game. This might be a short video. Let's get into it anyway. The first player I want to talk about is quarterback Bailey Zappe. Last week, he was 13 for 25, 0 touchdowns, 141 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interception, but he was sacked 5 times. 52 completion percentage, minus 10 completion percentage, above expectation. The weather was really bad. It was raining all game. His completed air yards average was 6.1, and intended air yards was 11. He's quarterback 49 versus a defense that allows 14 points to quarterbacks. Steelers have given up 13 passing touchdowns to quarterbacks. That's 24th in the league. And Steelers opponents have totaled 413 passing attempts, which is 12th in the league. So the Steelers given up a lot of passing attempts and are in the middle of the pack in opponents' passing yards, but don't give up passing touchdowns. It's a bend, not break defense against the pass. Zappe, in 2022, with multiple starts, averaged 195 passing yards a game. There's a chance his wide receiver squad is too hurt to play, and we'll see a bunch of nobodies running routes. Khalil Mack owned the Patriots pass blocking last week. TJ Watt will do the same. I will pause Bailey Zappe. And the one guy that I had the most confidence in from the New England Patriots for the Thursday night game is running back Ezekiel Elliott. 17 rushes, 52 yards, 0 touchdowns last week. He averaged 3.1 yards per carry, but yet he still had a negative 0.68 rushing yards over expected per attempt. He had 4 receptions for 40 yards, 0 touchdowns on 5 targets. He is averaging 3.8 yards this season, and that's kind of close to Ramondre Stevenson, who's averaging 4.0. He is running back 39, going against a defense that allows 21 points to running backs. They have given up 8 rushing touchdowns to running backs, and that's near the top 10. Steelers give up a lot of points to running backs at home, like James Conner, Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Darrell Henderson, and Jerome Ford have scored double-digit points at Pittsburgh. Most of these running backs had around 20 carries against the Steelers. We've seen Elliott rushing diminish the further we go into the season, but now he's going to get all the rushing attempts. Elliott had 17 rushes in 3 quarters and totaled 21 opportunities with 4 added receptions. Yeah, he is a solid pass-catching running back, with 3 games this year averaging over 10 yards per catch. Elliott has 7 out of 10-plus yard runs this season. Steelers allow 4.3 yards per rushing attempt this season. That is 21st in the NFL. Last week, Steelers were at home and gave up 5.1 rushing yards per attempt to a Cardinals offensive line that ranks 20th by Pro Football Network. So even though he's been a backup most of the year, this is a pretty good matchup for Ezekiel Elliott. He's fresh. He's ready to eat. Ty Montgomery's not going to take a lot of carries from him. This is a volume/goal line running back who can fit into your flex this week because I do believe he will at least get you some flex numbers. So I play Ezekiel Elliott. And now I want to have a discussion for the bruised and battered wide receiver core for the Patriots, starting with DeVante Parker. Last week, he had 4 receptions, 64 yards on 9 targets. He's wide receiver 99 versus a defense that allows 33 points to wide receivers. Steelers have given up 9 receiving touchdowns. That's like in the middle of the league. They have not given up a receiving touchdown in 3 games and given up 2,025 receiving yards. That's 8th best for wide receivers. His average separation for Parker last week was 1.9. And that's not good. But his average targeted air yards was 15, which means Zappe looks for Parker in the 3rd level of the defense. So Parker lines up on the left side of the field 54% of the time, and he gets targeted 13% of routes run, which is a low percent, and gets 0.17 fantasy points per route run. That is low as well. Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Joey Porter Jr. covers the left side of the field 67% of the time. Porter gets targeted 18% per route run, and he only allows 0.28 fantasy points per route run, which is good for cornerbacks. Granted, most of these percentages from Parker came from Mac Jones as quarterback, but Zappe is not much of an improvement, and Demario Douglas will likely be the main guy. With TJ Watt on the defensive side of the ball, putting pressure on Zappe, and being covered by Joey Porter Jr., I think he will get a few catches, but nothing relevant to fantasy. I pause DeVante Parker if Demario Douglas plays. If Douglas is out and you're in a pinch, I play Parker because of his targets and intended air yards. He has a chance to put up flex numbers. And since I brought up Demario Douglas, I want to talk about him next. With all the injuries to the wide receiver core for the Patriots, Douglas steals all the targets and has been a gem for New England. His average separation on the year is 3.2, and that's good. So normally no defenders are in a 3.2 yard radius per target. Plus he averages 7.3 yards after catch, and with targeted air yards of 7, it's like he gets 1 or 2 points added per catch, depending on your league. Steelers have given up 9 receiving touchdowns. That's in the middle of the league, but now have given up a receiving touchdown in 3 games. Have given up 2,025 receiving yards. That's 8th best for wide receivers. The Steelers deploy man coverage at a top 10 rate in the NFL. Pittsburgh has earned just a 48.4 team coverage grade while in man coverage, which ranks 28th. Douglas has earned a team-leading 79.2 receiving grade, that's 16th overall, to go along with a promising 13% target rate. Douglas runs the slot 65% of the time and is targeted 28% of his routes, and that leads the team. And then he goes and averages 0.38 fantasy points per route run, which is better than DeVante Parker and JuJu Smith, who both average less than 0.25 fantasy points per route run. Steelers cornerback Chandon Sullivan covers slot receivers 97% of the time, and Sullivan gets targeted at 18% per route run, tied first on the team, and gives up an average of 0.32 fantasy points per route run, and that's like around average. This is a favorable matchup for Douglas, and he can easily get you flex numbers and more. I play Demario Douglas. Oh, and I just remembered there's another wide receiver on that team, JuJu Smith-Schuster. He's 102nd wide receiver overall, and he's playing against a defense that allows 33 points to wide receivers. JuJu Smith has turned into a dud this year. His best game was 11 points, where he had a season high of 6 receptions and a season high of 51 yards, and that was against the worst defense in the league, Washington. He only has 1 touchdown this year, and he has multiple games with only 1 reception. And in the past 2 weeks with Demario Douglas out, he has 3 receptions for 21 yards. That's awful. The Patriots just do not involve him in the offense, and they don't even look his way. And he only averages 3 targets a game, so even the quarterbacks forget that he's there. So I pause JuJu Smith-Schuster. Okay, let's finish the player pause by talking about my big brother, Hunter Henry, who's also the gamble of the week. Last week, he had 2 receptions for 15 yards on 4 targets. He's tight end 20 versus a defense that allows 11 points to tight ends. Henry started the season strong with back-to-back 15-point games in week 1 and week 2, then only scored 1 touchdown in the last 10 games. But he is my gamble of the week. McBride scored over 20 points last week against the Steelers, and he had 8 receptions. McBride and Hunter are not the same. But with all the injuries to the Patriots wide receivers, he could produce 8 to 10 points, which can be tight end 5 or 6 on the week. But if Demario Douglas plays, I pause Hunter Henry. If Douglas is out, I roll the dice and play Hunter Henry. And now I would like to bring to you my final thoughts. Bailey Zappe, he's not the answer at quarterback for the Patriots. He might be an improvement over Mac Jones because of only his game management skills, but a lot of his weapons are out or playing injured. And TJ Watt would be coming after him. I'd be surprised if he manages 12 points. Ezekiel Elliott, look, this is why the Patriots picked up Elliott in free agency. He's a veteran running back who could be a 3-down back. Plus, he could catch the ball. His volume and being a goal line back makes him my most confident play this week. DeVante Parker. If Demario Douglas is playing, Parker becomes the wide receiver 2 on this team. Then his matchup with Joey Porter is not ideal. Only play Parker if you're dealing with injuries on your roster and Douglas is out. Demario Douglas. If he plays, you'll put this guy in your flex. In PPR, 10 points is his floor. He has a great matchup against the Steelers slot cornerback. There's a chance Douglas gets near 100 yards if he plays. And then Hunter Henry, my gamble of the week. Look, there's nothing great 9 out of the 12 games he played this season. But with the injuries, he might be the only viable option for Zappe. We're only asking for 8 or 9 points. But if Douglas plays, he's back to your bench. Okay, people, that's the end of the show. Thank you for watching. I do believe the information I provided in this video can help you decide who to start or sit your New England Patriot players if you have any on your team. Tyler's coming out with his player pause tomorrow, and he's doing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Make sure to catch that video. If you haven't already, if you could please hit the subscribe, press the like. It goes a long way. We appreciate all you zoners out there, and we want to keep putting out videos for you guys. This is a community here. We're all zoners. We got more videos coming out later this week, so I'll talk to you then. Deuces.